and welcome to the Historical Commission meeting here at Town Hall. We're in the new meeting room, and it's 6:35. May I have a motion to open the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, we don't have a flag in this room, do we?
No, ma'am.
No.
No flag. Okay. Okay, so we'll skip the pledge for this evening. Okay, has everyone looked over the meeting minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, may I have a motion to accept the minutes as read?
I'll make the motion to accept the
Second.
minutes.
Yep.
And second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You did a good job, Richard.
Thank you.
Very good.
I'm not that good at it yet.
Well, you did a good job here. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Also, another thing I want to bring up, if it's okay, we discussed these signs at River's End that needed to be painted.
Yes.
All right, I stopped there yesterday and checked them out.
Mhm.
So if you want, I'll grab a small can of black paint and I'll take care of it.
You'll do that?
Yeah.
Oh, good, because I'm not good on a ladder anymore. I don't want to do, I don't want to
No,
fall.
I'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, under new business, we have Kathy Murray here again this evening, so we can kind of go over some items from CPC. I did want to mention that the Perry Hill School Park at the corner of Perry Hill Road and Mendel Road
Yeah.
has a picnic table there and it has benches. So anybody that wants to go there, have a picnic or anything like that, they're welcome to use it.
Very nice.
Okay.
Okay, where would they park, Polly?
Well, you can park off the road on the side,
Okay.
but you gotta go a little further up because it's muddy
Yeah, okay.
on
Now,
Mendel Road.
if they wanted to, could they park at the church and walk
Oh
across?
yeah, sure. They're welcome to park at the church as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're working on Perry Hill Road, you know.
Right.
They're tearing up the blacktop.
North of, well,
Yes, from
east
Mendel
of the
Road.
church, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, to the road, Rochester line. Okay. All right, Kathy, do you want to go over some of these things with us?
Sure. I just want to thank the commission for having me in again. And as you know, last time, I just explained to you that the CPC is in the process of writing their first CPC plan. And the plan is just kind of a vision of what different departments, specifically open space, recreation, affordable housing, and historical commission, of what projects that they would like to see happen in town. So the first one part of the plan is getting the goals from your commission. And the second part of it is, as we start to do our plan, one part that is required is a resident survey. So that there, I asked you, what questions would you like to ask the residents pertaining to the historical resources in the town of Acushnet?
Is this the survey we suggested to put out at the Apple Peach?
Yes.
So, are you gonna have a booth there with this, or?
Well,
What we're gonna do is we're gonna have her set up on either on one of our tables under the patio or an additional table that can be set up. I've got my meeting Thursday evening with the society,
okay.
and I'm gonna bring it up and have them vote on it to make sure it's okay.
Okay.
But we've done things like that in the past,
Yeah.
where we have them, you know, close to our patio. So nobody can say anything as I was doing it.
Well, I mean, this is money that residents are having taken from their taxes.
Yeah.
And they should have a say, what would they like to see in this town?
Mhm.
So
I would
think
like
it's just
some
a great-
ideas.
Yeah, and you know, you need the fresh perspective sometimes. So I think it's a great opportunity where there's gonna be just a ton of people, you know, of course it would be limited to Acushnet residents,
Right.
to, you know, give us some feedback, what they would like to see.
So are you gonna have some kind of documents or something to pass out?
So we'll have the survey with probably a little bit of information, kind of maybe just a bullet list of what CP what the CPA is, which was the act that created it, and then what the committee is, what's its charge, and where can we spend the funds?
Mhm.
I mean, we can't, renovate the inside of this building, so if they want something like that, or do things inside the school, but like specific to what CPC is for, which is the open space, the recreation, affordable housing, and historical resources.
So we're gonna have to have a sign there, et cetera, so that you can, in other words, we don't want people just to walk by.
Oh, I'm gonna yell at people as they walk by. Hey, are you a resident?
Well,
Well, you could put some kind of a sign on the front of the
Yeah,
table,
yeah.
so when people walk up, they know what you're there for.
Yeah.
Because
Kind
we've
of.
done it in the past.
yep.
You
Kind of
know.
like, do you know what CPC is all about? Something to try to draw them in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would it be too costly to put out a mailer to all the residents?
Cool. That would cost a lot.
I don't know, but I mean, that would be a lot of work. Then someone would have to do the
Well,
mailing, get
You
the-
could mail it out with the tax bills.
Oh, we got those already.
Well, you got another quarter coming up.
Yeah, that's too late. It's
I think the
November.
cost would be
Oh, okay.
prohibitive. I
Yeah.
think that what you're doing is a real good idea, and I think the Apple Peach Festival always draws a pretty big crowd.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Sure, last year the
Yes.
place was
But
packed.
I don't think it's
We're 5
the broad
minutes away from that
spectrum of
place.
Acushnet.
We can walk.
You don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
so?
Yeah, we're
I
right
don't-
there, right.
A lot of
other
the
side
old
street
people,
is
maybe they
5
might come earlier, but I think they avoid
Crowds.
the crowds later in the day.
Yeah, I don't blame them either.
Yeah.
So
I gotta say.
would you have an idea maybe where seniors might congregate, maybe a council on aging?
Well, exactly. Put-
Yeah,
put
that's a great idea.
You know something, you
That's
could
a good
call
idea on
Heather.
your part, Kathy.
Call Heather and get on the agenda for our August meeting. It's on a Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. I'm on that board too. Okay, but we are thinking about, there's some things that I put down here that looking to, because we got some ceilings in the museum that need work. We got some walls that need to be painted. We started with the bathroom area in the back of the museum, that part is done. But in the front, the hallways, everything, that all needs painting and work.
What museum?
The Long Plain Museum. We're open Sunday from 1 to 3, so bring your wife by. Let her see the building.
So maybe then, now on this sheet, I have different goals that are in different plans of different communities.
Mhm.
So maybe that would be your first goal, would be to, do needed updates at Long Plain.
What do we know, if anything, about what Gloucester is doing for its 400th anniversary this year?
I don't know.
No, 'cause I come from there.
Oh, really?
It was founded in 1623, only 3 years after Plymouth.
Wow.
And Miles Standish went up there and banged heads together to stop a range war among fishing outfits.
Oh.
No, they couldn't get along, they couldn't decide who was gonna go where and do what. And so finally, they got very worried about a real problem up there, so they called to Miles Standish, and he came up there and he straightened things out. And you can see the story about it on a stone, a great big rock in Stage 4 Park in Gloucester. And they tell you the story about him coming up.
Wow.
Wow, that's
And there were other things that have gone on up there too, but no, Gloucester is one of the very first communities in the state. Yeah. Now, isn't it true that the reason this town is called Acushnet was after the ship that that appeared in what's his face?
Herman Melville's?
Yeah, Melville.
No.
He and a friend of his went to sea on that vessel, supposedly.
The Indian name for Acushnet was the bathing place.
Yeah, that's what the Indian, that's what the name
That's
is.
its name, and it wasn't spelled the way it is now.
No.
But that was
Acushnet.
the English interpretation of the Indian
Sure.
name.
There's also 42 names available before they picked the name Acushnet.
Mhm.
Oh, it probably was.
No,
They're
I
out
thought-
in the history book. The history book of Acushnet.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
took it out of the library
Good for you.
and I read it. It's pretty interesting,
It's a very
actually.
interesting book. No?
Who knows, here's some trivia for you. What was the last town to be established on Cape Cod? Of the 15 towns down there, there was one that was established long after all the others, and it was in the 1800s, but long after the others.
We weren't there.
The town of Bourne.
Really?
What they did, they took the first town established, which was, the town of Sandwich. That was the oldest one. And then finally, in the 1880s, they decided to split Sandwich with a vertical line. Everything to the east of that line would remain Sandwich. Everything to the west of it was going to be the brand new town of Bourne, and that's what they did. That was the last of 15 towns.
Well, Acushnet was born that way.
Oh, yeah, it was cut
Part
out.
of Dartmouth,
Yep,
then New Bedford got separated, and I don't know
yep.
what the chronological time,
Sure.
but New Bedford, Fairhaven, we were not, part of, what, North Fairhaven at that time, or whatever. And then, I guess the Quakers over here decided they didn't want the Fairhaven's rules, so they, from what I understand.
Yeah, yeah.
For goodness sake. And this, I think it was either this year or last year, they celebrated the 100th anniversary of the most recent town to be created in Massachusetts. What do you suppose that one was? It broke away from an existing town over on Route 9. I think it was in 1922 or 23. They took part of the town of Brookfield, and the whole eastern part became the new town of East Brookfield. You know, it's farmers and stuff up there. It's very small, but that's the last town to be established as far as I
I'm
know.
familiar with the country, yeah.
I know.
It's noisy, isn't it? You know, at my house, I can hear these motorcycles sticking off from that stop sign all day and all night.
Well, they closed Hamlin Street because they're working on the
Yeah, I
bridge,
know.
so I have peace and quiet.
Well, they closed,
Ah, yeah.
what are they doing on Perry Hill?
They're resurfacing. Yeah.
Has anybody said anything or any news come up again about the old library?
I haven't heard nothing further. No.
Has CPC got anything to do with that place?
The
Has
old
anything
library
been
is
said
big
about?
I don't know anything about it, no.
Well, I mean, is the town gonna lose it? Are we gonna have to sell it?
I really don't know what the plan is for it.
The last I knew from the selector was they were supposed to get a formal appraisal and try to put it on the market to sell. That was the last I heard. Nothing further. I keep checking in with Mr. Kelly every now and then.
Well, who makes the decisions on that?
Well, it would be the selectmen. I mean, the town administrator also, but I mean, the selectmen would make the final decision. Okay, so Kathy, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start working on this because
Okay.
some of the ceilings need to be done. I can get a couple of estimates on it. Okay, and maybe getting the walls painted. I used to get the sheriff's department to do the exterior.
Yeah.
With the new sheriff here, I don't know if we can, or if he even has that program anymore. I can call that Connie lady, I can't remember her first name, but she works there, so she's part of that work program. I'll call and find out, because if we can get that, that's free labor,
Right, right.
you know, than just the materials. Because the building is looking good now. I mean, we got the new windows. The old windows are not the best, but they gotta stay there. They need to be finished painting inside. And like I said, there's some rooms there, the ceilings are bad. I'll see what I can do for getting some estimates on it.
Okay.
Okay.
And for your goals for the report, like I said, just look through these samples
Mm-hmm.
and just, modify them to what does Acushnet need.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you know certain buildings need work, then, that would be one of your goals to
Perryville
renovate.
Church.
Yeah, so, I mean, that could be a goal just to determine, what you want to do with it.
Yeah.
Or what can be done with it.
I noticed one of them is indeed the town, the city of Gloucester.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very historical and very
Yeah.
old, and,
See, with the church, it's gonna be a big issue with the town, because there's no parking there. We don't know if we can put a septic in. You know, there's town water in the street would have to be brought in. There's no heat in the building.
Okay, talking about burial church, and also in reference to the meeting house.
Okay,
Now, the Mass Historical Commission, every once in a while, I don't know, on email, we get
an update,
a newsletter from them.
yeah.
Why can't historical buildings be exempt from 3 bathrooms?
I've been trying to get that answer.
When, for years, 1 bathroom has been sufficient.
No bathrooms.
Well, you're showing your age, Pauline. But, I mean, even with 1 bathroom, now I guess you have to put, you know, his and her sign on it.
Oh, it's gonna be handicap.
But, well, handicap accessible, yes, but 1 bathroom.
Yeah, but they're saying no, I gotta have 3.
But why can't historical properties be exempt?
I don't know. I've had calls into Paul Holtz up there at the State House. And the other gentleman too, I can't think of his name offhand. There's 2 I speak to every now and then about this problem. And on this issue about bathrooms, or why we're not exempt and can use the building the way it is now,
Yeah.
they're not returning any calls. I'm not getting any answers.
Well, I imagine if you wanted to use the building, see, the other problem you're gonna have is handicap accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the meeting house, didn't you have a portable, John, outside? When you used to have,
When I used to have the car shows,
because the meeting house has no bathroom.
nothing. It has no heat, no nothing. When we had that event there, when we had the,
Car show?
before that one we had was, not the Centennial, the last one we had. Gosh, I can't think of the name. We bought 2 radiator units, electric units, and used that for heat in the building. We had to warm it up somewhat, because it was in February. You know, but, there's no heat, we got electric in there, but there's no heat, there's no running water, there's no bathrooms, nothing.
Now, is the museum handicapped?
We're not handicapped,
But you could use it.
but we can use it because we've got bathrooms, we've got water, we've got heat.
But it's not handicap
It's
accessible.
not handicap accessible.
So why is the exemption for that and not for the other buildings?
I don't know. The town, the state won't give us an answer, that's the problem. And I spoke with the building inspector and he told me to use the building, it's gotta be up to code. And the code says it's gotta have 3 bathrooms.
But I still.
Even if it's never been a residence, ever?
It never,
It's something that's gotta be done.
yeah, I mean,
Gotta be,
it's,
gotta be
some
somebody
sort
who knows
of,
what the heck's going
yeah.
on.
Well, I think if we could get in touch with the Mass Historical
Historical,
Commission, I forget her name, I think it's a lady.
yeah, I've got her name at home too. It's her and the 2 gentlemen that, work on the historical part. But he's not answering me back, and I sent him an email directly stating the questions that I had for these
Yeah.
buildings.
Yeah.
And he's not getting back to me, probably
Well,
because he's saying that's the code, that's the way it's gotta
Does
be.
he get paid by the Commonwealth of
I
Massachusetts?
guess. Mm-hmm. You don't understand half of what I've run into with historic.
I was actually doing a little research online today about that. I didn't get clear-cut answers. I wouldn't speak to it because I'm certainly no expert. But I did see that there are sometimes exemptions to certain things.
Why aren't they here? That's what I don't
Yeah,
understand.
but obviously we need to speak to someone that can answer those questions.
Now, I was referred to the building inspector, the new fella,
Yep.
and I did speak to him about it. And he's very familiar with the church.
Yeah.
And he told me the code is, and this is what you're
Well,
gonna have
his
to.
hands are tied, because he has to enforce the code as written.
I mean, if the place doesn't even have a congregation, for gosh sake, or
No.
a clergyman, and it's never been resided in, I mean, for gosh sake, we're gonna, you're gonna force things that have never yet occurred in the same building and then make it stick? I mean,
Yeah, because that's the way
Well-
things are today.
Yeah, you're talking about a few decades later.
Right,
Yeah, I know.
right. Like even with the meeting house,
Yeah,
I didn't have no car show this year. I was gonna have one maybe next year, and I've mentioned it already, and it's like, can't go in the building. We can't go in the building anymore. You know, I don't understand it. I really don't understand it, but that's the way it is.
Well, even if you couldn't go into the building, you're still allowed to put porta-johns and you could have the car show
I can have
outside.
a, yeah. I can have
And put a little, canopy or tent for anything you wanted to display or whatever. I don't know.
Is it financially a burden to do that? Renting the porta potties and all that?
No, that's usually $100
They're not
for the
that
day.
expensive.
Yeah, they're not. I've done it, I've had quite a few car shows up there, and always had the porta john.
Yeah.
And we've always had a food truck come in to serve food.
Right.
So in other words, you can have the car show as long as you don't use the building.
Can't use the building, can't go in the building.
And that, what building is this again?
The meeting house, which is way up on Main Street, 1341 Main Street.
Now, we used to go in that building, right? So who stopped you now? Building
The
the town
town, the town.
all the time.
what is in that Quaker place? Is there anything worth seeing in there?
Oh yes, there's pews on the first floor.
Yeah.
And then upstairs on the second floor, there's display cases with items from the Quakers.
Yeah.
I did an inventory in that building with, I forgot her name too. I'm terrible with names lately. Her and I did an inventory of that whole building. We've got the pictures and what the items are, and I've got that book is in the clerk's office. Just in case, I don't keep it there in case, you never know, there's a fire or something, it would be lost. But we
Now-
did a complete inventory.
Now, when Steve Gilmore displayed those items, that was his personal collection?
That was his personal,
Okay.
yeah. All the chairs, the dishware and all that, he used to serve it in his barn. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where we are. Historic is tough. It's very difficult, believe you me.
Especially in the 21st century.
The whole thing stems on if we can get funds to do what we want from CDC, right?
Well, it depends. We can't, we can't overgo the, bypass the rules. If they're telling me I can't use the inside of that building, then I can't do it.
Well, what procedure is there that the historical commission would have to do to get money from your organization?
Oh, you gotta put together, you gotta get bids, and you get, there's a form that you fill out.
And then you
Okay,
present that
you present it to CPC,
and
but you gotta try to get at least 2 bids. Show the documentation and go before CPC and explain to them what you're looking to do.
well, who makes the decision?
The board, there's a
How many
committee.
people on the board?
There's supposed to be 9. It's a 9-person.
So it's all 9 people take a vote?
Well, we're missing a few members, so right
Yeah.
now I think we have 6.
So in other words, it's just the majority of whoever votes?
It's a
Well,
majority.
Present and voting.
they usually discuss it, and if it's reasonable,
Yeah.
then they take a vote on it.
Yeah.
And then the money is given?
Well,
Oh,
town
sure.
meeting, you go before town meeting also.
So-
Town meeting has to approve the funding. Like, I went before town meeting in the spring with CPC for the flagpole, for the fence at the museum, and it was money for the Perry Hill. I got the money for the flagpole, in fact, it's being ordered right now, okay? And the fence, I'm waiting for them to send the deposit to them, and then they'll call me and we'll put that fence up. So I've been pretty lucky with things that I've asked for. It's Perry Hill Church that they nail me every time. I can't get anywhere with the board with Perry Hill Church.
Well, right now it's a dead end.
Huh? First of all, the committee, the last time I went before them, they said, let's try working on the bathrooms. You remember that?
Yep.
That's when I had to talk to the building inspector and find out we're gonna have 3. So I told him how much funding we had in the account. He said, try 3 times that amount for 3 bathrooms, because we've gotta put an addition on.
Oh.
There's no room in the church right now to put a bathroom.
But you don't have the land for septic.
Then we probably won't have enough room for a septic. It might have to be a tight tank, but I don't know if we could even get away with a tight tank.
So it seems to me that instead of doing all that, we're not gonna be able to do it. The only other thing it needs there, you said something in the last meeting about the floor.
Yeah, the flooring.
Now, maybe that's all we should do is fix the floors and,
Well, I brought bids in for the flooring, but they turned around to the bathrooms.
Why are you gonna
Flooring-
fix the floor if you
If we
have no
can't
use
use
for the
it.
building?
well, so the building doesn't fall in on itself.
But eventually,
really-
the fund's gonna dry up for that church because there's no use.
Yeah.
Well, it's a historical building, that would be the only way to save it, would be to keep it from falling in on itself.
I
mean, especially after the
agree
money-
100% with you.
Especially after the money that's been spent already there.
I
But are
know.
you gonna convince the townspeople that this is a project worthy of putting money into?
Well, this is
If it's
a-
not usable.
What can the building be used for at all? And nothing?
I was hoping that we could get it fixed up so that we could use it as a church on Sundays, reopen it again, because there's still people on Perry Hill Church that went to that building, went to church at that building.
Now,
So
this was
those-
before the code said that you had to have bathrooms running water.
Right. And then I've had other opportunities. I've had a lady from UMass, down to the professor. She wanted to rent it to do ceramics.
I think there was an outhouse years ago when they used to have church services there.
Yeah,
Because I remember the bell ringing, I don't know, 6
The
or
bell
7
is still
o'clock in
there.
the morning,
yeah.
to summon everybody to the service.
Well, it seems like it's becoming a white elephant. In other words, you're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't.
Well, the meeting house is the same thing. It's a beautiful building and it's got a lot of history.
Sure.
But that's also now, unless you can do something, I mean, that's got plenty of room for septic.
Yeah.
Plenty.
But then the expense of, you'd probably have to put an addition somewheres
For the
and put a
bathroom.
septic in.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to make it handicapped. The second floor is impossible.
What is the reason you can't go in the meeting house? No bathroom?
It's not safe, it's not handicap accessible, there's not a ramp there, and the ramp would only be, because the porch and then 1 step in.
Right,
So
it's a
it
short
wouldn't be
ramp.
very high.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be very high. We don't have, it's not handicap. And then it goes back to no bathrooms, no this, no that. And I said, well, I've always put in a porta john, never had a problem with that, But then that's not really allowed anymore, We're gonna have bathrooms.
Well, porta john is like considered portable event, one-time thing. It's not
Right.
They're not,
meant to be
you
permanent.
can't be using them permanently.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, you can leave one there permanently, but you'd have to pay rent on
You-
it.
you
And
would.
whether they'll approve
And
that
in
as
the
a
winter
bathroom-
time with no heat, who's gonna go
Yeah,
visit
you
them?
can't,
Yeah.
no.
And they would have to constantly clean it, come to clean it and
Yeah,
charge you.
usually once a week
Yeah.
at least, yeah, because
It isn't something you could actually leave there.
Maybe couldn't they sometimes, I know they have managed to get exemptions from one thing or another through the legislature in a given situation. Has anybody thought of that? Because, it would get a discussion up there about the foolishness of some of these regulations if they aren't used as residences and they're only used on rare occasions. I mean,
But how
I
do you-
haven't called the name you gave me, the representative.
Schmidt, what's his first name?
Schmid,
Is it Bill?
He's our rep.
good guy.
Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me his name and phone number.
Yeah,
I'll reach him.
I've got his card, I still have his card.
What is he on the state
Yeah.
legislature?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, he represents
Yeah.
Acushnet now. That's the tail end of his jurisdiction.
What's his name?
Schmidt.
I got the information at home.
I forget his first name, but his last name is Schmidt.
S-C-H-M-I-D.
S-C-H-M-I-T-Z.
I think it's
No.
German, I'm not sure.
S-C-H-M-I-T-Z.
I've got it,
Something
if
like
you want,
that.
I'll get you his card, a
Yeah,
copy of it or whatever.
Yeah.
I've got the, you sent me the information, so I got it home on paper.
Yeah.
I can always let you know
He's
what
got
it
3
is.
numbers, he's got his cell phone, his Fall River number, his
Yeah.
State House
He might
number.
actually have some ideas about what the heck to do about some of these problems.
Well, if I could get somebody like that on our side.
Well,
If you got 160 members, surely these things have arisen in other parts of the state, they've done something about it.
well, it's like politics.
Yes,
I mean,
that's-
one hand washes the other, so.
Oh, of course, that's
I don't
always
know,
been true.
I don't know how much he's helped his fellow reps, hopefully.
Well, I noticed when he has a meeting in front of the selectmen, they seem to be very happy
Yeah,
with things he's done.
he seems like a
Well, he himself is a
Yeah,
former
it's
selectman.
somebody you
I
can
mean,
talk
He's
to.
been in many things.
Very down to
Yeah,
earth.
yeah.
but maybe the first step is getting hold of the Mass Historical again. If they don't answer you, then maybe the next step is calling a rep. Or maybe,
I would go right to the
maybe
rep.
vice versa.
Go right to the rep,
Yeah.
try, bug them if you have to. Leave
Well, I mean,
messages.
Pauline has the information, they never got back to her,
Well,
so
then you gotta-
might as well.
You gotta keep at it, you know, call until he gets tired of hearing it.
You're not friends with the governor, right?
I wish. I wish I could get any help up there. A little old Acushnet, that's for sure.
Well, I'm sure.
Well, we're in that South Coast area,
Yeah.
which is far from Boston, not connected by rail.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's gonna
I want to live to see that first train.
be, I'll tell you what, that's gonna be a
You know
hor-
the parking lot on
horror show.
Church Street? That thing's coming right along.
So's Whale's Tail parking lot, that station.
As the rents are high now, they're gonna go even higher when that railroad station opens.
Oh, yeah.
Property values are gonna skyrocket.
Yep.
People who don't wanna deal with the traffic going to Boston or living in Boston, working there,
Yeah.
they're gonna
Right,
move
they're gonna-
here.
That's
and
what they
take the
did to all
train.
the other suburbs west and north of
Well, that's the
Boston.
whole idea of it, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you want to get in the ball game, you buy property now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck. Property is outrageous.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
crazy, even when I, you know.
It's going to be even worse once that comes
Of
through.
course. Well, it's not gonna go down, that's for damn sure.
No,
No.
no.
You know?
You know the Captain Andrew J. Wing house on Main Street, 858 Main? The one that's got a red roof, a red metal roof? It just sold about a month ago, 450,000. And they've been going right through the house and doing.
Oh, that was across from Montgomery's.
Yeah.
Who was that? I'm trying to think of her name.
Sally
Sally
White.
White. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Karen Gannett knew her very well too.
Yeah.
She's the one that told me Sally White lived there.
Yeah.
But you know, I've done so much research on that property. Oh, I've been here at the assessors, I've gone over to Pam's doing the research. I've even talked to the lady at New Bedford Library. She actually got me information from the state files that I didn't have from, you know the books that, what's his name, put together? Irwin. He had put the books together with all the houses when they did that around the town of Acushnet in the 80s, I guess. Well, that particular house had no information in the book. But when I talked to the girl at the library in New Bedford, Mary Ellen, she said, have you tried going on NACRIS, which is the state page, a historical page? She went on it, you should see what she dug up for me. She emailed me everything. I says, oh my God. So I ended up getting quite a bit of information. But it's still, we know it as the Andrew J. Wing House.
That was back when.
Yeah, but he was born in 1820.
Okay,
That house was built in 1784.
I believe that.
So how can they call it the Andrew J. Wing House? He wasn't even born when that house was built. So this is what I'm trying to determine, if it wasn't his parents, but I'm wondering if it was grandparents. And I just found information now that it must be the grandparents on the father's side were from England. The Wings from England.
It could be. The house we're living at had several owners, and as far as I can determine, none of them were related. So it wasn't passed down.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that can apply to almost all the buildings around here.
Yeah.
You know,
Passed down,
it can
passed down,
apply to
passed
all the
down.
buildings around
Yeah,
here.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Sold, passed down, whatever. I got a question for Kathy. CPC, have they spent any money on anything lately? I mean, has any funds been handed out to anything at all lately?
Oh yeah, we got fans at town meeting for the
Yeah.
projects that we did in the spring.
Yeah, there was several projects okayed at town meeting, approved at town meeting.
Yeah,
We only make recommendations, it's actually the residents of the town at town meeting
Right.
that
That
determine
override, yeah.
if they're approved or not.
Now, was there much of a balance after town meeting?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Okay, good.
significant amount of money
in,
right
in
now.
historical,
I don't know the exact figure for historical, but we always have undesignated, so if the project is more than what's allocated in that category, you go into the undesignated.
How often is the town meeting?
twice a year.
Yeah, usually.
Twice a year?
Spring
In
and fall.
spring and in the fall. But this fall, there's a possibility there of CPC.
Yeah, like I don't know any of the details of that, when the warrant will close, when things would have to be done, so I would say it would be a very tight schedule.
Yes, yes. That means get started now.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Oh my God. Okay, anything else you want to bring up, Kathy?
So, yeah, just to circle back to what I'm looking for from the commission is just to go through those goals and come up with a few. I mean, some communities had 4, some had 2. I think it was Gloucester that had a very detailed listing of acquisition, preservation, and rehab and restoration, where they really broke it down. But we don't have, whatever you want to determine what your goals are. And that will be for the report. And then the last one, the
Can you put it on our vote?
Is that some of the questions or the
those are
questions?
sample questions that we used in the community I work for. They're pretty kind of standard. If you like them, we can go with them. If you want to just tweak them a little, we can do that. So this will need, like, though, for August, if we're gonna have that survey out at Apple Peach. The goals is something you can take, maybe sometime in the fall.
Well, looking at some of these other towns, they're putting us to shame. As far as, I'm amazed at some of the stuff that's written here.
I hope they vote put 4 on that question number 2. And that would open up our dead-end buildings.
Is there any other historical buildings in town?
As far as I know, it's the museum, the meeting house, the church.
The library.
I don't think that's on historical.
That's never had a plaque or anything put on.
Library, no.
I don't think
No.
so.
Well, it
I
should
think that's such a pretty building.
It was
the
built in
other thing.
1930.
Right,
Right.
but was that building donated by the Russell family in memory of their daughter, from what
I got a copy of the deed, I had looked it up. I'm pretty sure that was donated to the town.
Right. Now,
So the town owns that building.
Oh yeah, it's a town-owned building.
if it was donated, are there any stipulations on the deed? what has to be done with that building, or if it could be sold, or?
Not that I remember. I would have to look it up again. The last time I spoke to Mr. Kelly about it, he had spoke to the selectmen, and they were looking in, they had, I guess, the town attorneys looking into it to make sure that they can sell it legally.
Right.
So I haven't heard no more since then.
If they do sell it legally, whatever, there's stipulations that can be put onto the deed that he has to maintain the exterior of the building.
Yeah, the building would have a historic, what do you call it? The front part of the building would never be able to be touched. That would be right in the deed to whoever purchased
It'd
it.
be registered in a historical register or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in other words, he could do what he wanted with the building, only he couldn't change the facade.
No, they can't change the facade. And the other thing too is the Veterans Memorial that's there.
Yes.
Well, that is another problem with that building, though, and it's the same as the Perry Hill, there's no parking.
I know.
Maybe spots for 4 or 5 cars and that's it.
That's it,
So
yeah.
if they put offices in there,
No.
you know, where the heck's everybody gonna park?
Back in the day, they didn't think about parking.
I know.
No, that's true, it's
Where you
true.
gonna tie up your horse?
That's it, exactly.
That's
I
about,
know I had a call from a lady, asking about that building, thinking about doing like a little cafe.
Like they did in Lakeville,
Lakeville,
I think
yeah.
it's the library, right?
Yes,
Across from
That-
the old town hall.
right, yeah.
That just closed up though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't make out.
That closed.
But
Yeah.
it's something
I
there.
know.
I think the town took it.
I think there's town offices or something in there now.
Yeah. Even, I was told like an accountant, somebody in town looking for an accountant, that top
Real
floor.
estate office, something like that. Well, a real estate office, you wouldn't need much parking,
No,
you know what I mean?
no, no.
Anything else, anything that you'd have customers in, you're gonna need parking.
Mm.
And you can't park on the street.
Well, you could park
On the side street, you could.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's it, you can't
The
park.
library used to park in the front.
Yeah, we can park, there's an area there, yeah,
Yeah.
in front of the
On Main
library,
Street.
right on Main Street.
Well, I know there's an area that the residents for them houses just
Right, it's a
down the
cutout.
hill
Yeah,
have a place to park.
yeah, that's
There's not
like
a
a
heck of a lot
cutout.
of room in front there. But I
No,
guess you
but
can if you have to.
When the library was there, they used to let it
Park
park
there.
on the
Yeah.
street, yeah.
Yeah, there's an area,
The road is quite wide there, and there's quite an area on the side. I don't think it's as wide as the car, but there is an area.
that's why we even thought about with, like the Perry Church, about just going back to the town and say, we've gone as far as we can with this building. Now it's in your hands, sell it, do whatever you'd like with it.
no.
You know, it's a shame really because it's such a, it is a nice building.
Yeah.
How much money's been put into that already?
Oh, if we tallied it all up, I would say maybe over 200,000.
What building is that?
The church,
Oh,
Perryville Church.
yeah. Cause we got money like 3 or 4 different times. Cause the first time was the roof. That was all
Window.
done.
Windows.
The windows, we just had them preserved.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Sherman there from Rochester did that. But the roof was the first thing, they had to rebuild it because they had a huge hole in it
Yeah.
where one of the trees had come down. So that was, the first time took a lot of money, right there. Then the second amount of money, I believe, was for the insulation. The inside of the building is all insulated. Now it needs the sheet rock because it's not finished.
Yeah.
You know? I had the 2 Eagle Scouts that volunteered work there. And one preserved all the pews. They're all preserved. The second boy did the front where the altar would be. That's all new flooring, all reinforced underneath, everything. It's a shame, it really is a
It
shame.
certainly is a shame.
I mean, you open that door and you walk in there, of course, the front hallway is a disaster because everything's falling down. That never got touched. But I mean, you could almost visualize that building being fixed up I even have the lights, the beautiful opal glass lights
Yeah.
from the Advent Church on Middle Road that David White gave to us for the Perry Hill Church. I got them stored at the museum so they don't get broken, but they're beautiful, opal glass. So, you know, it needs, the electrical never got completed. There is lights in there, there is electric, but the wiring, nothing got finished, you know? We even have solar lights on the outside of the 2 doors, so at night it lights the doors up in the front, so it's not so dark over there, you know? I mean, you know, it's gonna take, like the building inspector said, it's gonna take a lot of money
Yeah.
to fix that building up, just the bathrooms alone, you know? The 38,000 that's in that account is only for fixing the inside, you know, doing what needs to be restored.
Mhm.
But I don't even think we could get that sheet rocked,
No, probably not.
not for 38,000.
Where did that 38,000 come from?
That's all from money left over from town meeting.
Now, is that still in the church account?
It's in the account here in the town,
Right.
under the Perry Hill Church. It's 38,000 and change.
Now, will the 38,000 be enough to not fix the floors, but shore them up so they don't fall in on themselves?
No, because I got, last town meeting, that's what we talked about was the flooring. And I think, I don't remember the figure exactly.
Well, that's, like you said, they wanted to pull out all the pews and change all the floors.
That's how to do it correctly, because underneath that floor, it all has to be reinforced.
Yeah, I understand that, but that doesn't look like that's gonna get done. In other
But
words,
that's the
that
next
money,
step.
that money is not gonna be approved, no way.
Unless there's some miracle you can get some,
Somebody wins the big money.
It's mighty
I
tough.
wish somebody would hit the megabucks bad
Yeah.
and donate it to me for the Perry Hill Church. Oh, my
that's fine and dandy. But once everything's fixed up, what are you gonna do with it?
Well, we could still do things with. Look at the little one in Lakeville. Have you ever gone by that little, it was a church, and I believe it's the Historical Society now. It's a little dinky building, all fixed up, and they open it up all the time.
In Lakeville?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Before, right around the waterworks area there, in Lakeville. You gotta go on, oh my God, you
What
gotta go
area?
around the waterworks and out.
Oh, the waterworks, okay.
Is that 105? Go around the waterworks out
That's-
towards,
Yeah, well, yeah,
River.
Rochester into
Yeah.
Lakeville, yeah.
Yeah. That little building right there is the Historical Society. It almost looks like a little church.
They-
That building is old, and yet they open it up all the time. I wonder if they've got a bathroom there.
Museum? What is it open for?
It's, I guess it's like a museum type thing. But I wonder if it's got a bathroom in there.
Well, research time.
It's a different town, so it'd be different rules, right?
I-
No two towns are quite the same.
Lakeville, let me see.
This should be.
Yeah.
Houses, barns.
If it's like anything else, the town sets their
Cemeteries, monuments,
rules.
and walls,
but-
and roadways.
It's, can be modified accordingly if some
Well,
other
I think
towns.
you like, for instance, the building code, I think is from the state.
I think that's state
You
mandated.
know, that's not from, that's not individual town.
No.
But the
no.
town can modify it. The state sets a
Well, they
standard.
can modify it to a. to
They
a
can
point.
only add to it. I don't think they can
They
detract
can't
from it.
change,
No.
they can't change the code.
Because the building inspector told me,
Cause no, you-
Massachusetts code.
yeah, if you do that, you're gonna end up with a ton of fines.
And end up with, in court.
Yeah, exactly.
Court. Okay. So do you need some answers tonight?
No, like I said, just for the sample questions for the survey, if you could have that for me, maybe like for your next meeting.
Okay, this is the back page?
Yes.
So we can all,
Yeah.
think up some questions and then
Sure.
we can go through them and eliminate.
Yeah, you know, it's
How many questions do you think there should be on the survey?
whatever you think is
Well, I mean, if you
appropriate.
make too many, nobody's gonna take it.
I mean, this particular one was 4. I'd say like 4 or 5, or you're right, people
Yeah.
will get,
Yeah,
Yeah.
lose
no go
interest.
wrong.
sure.
I wonder if we should put the question, if they agree that we should move forward with the Perry Hill Church to have it preserved.
You can put that as a question.
Yeah.
You might not.
They'll come
want
back
to.
with a one-word question, why?
Or no?
Exactly,
No.
so you might not want to, let's see how the survey goes first.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But that would be, that would be something to know, how the town-wide feels about it.
Well, they might, if you want to stretch it, they might say the same thing with the meeting house. If you can't use it, why have it? So, I don't know, maybe you
I gotta double check on this because
Yeah.
I don't go for this already with the meeting house.
No.
I mean, no. I mean, look at how many times we've opened that meeting house.
Yeah. Are they opening it this summer for any reason? No.
No, because I didn't plan a car show this year at all.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
That's really the biggest, the best thing to do with the meeting house because of the land area.
Yes,
I mean, you can hold 100 cars up there or more,
sure. And there are no Quakers around, right?
They're all in the back of the cemetery.
I mean, there's none of them up on their own 2 feet. It was always a relatively small segment anyway, of
Yes.
wherever they were. But
I understand that all the Quakers that belong to that meeting house all lived on Quaker Lane.
Huh?
That's
what a
in-
coincidence.
That's in the,
Maybe that's why it was named
Quaker
Quigley.
Lane.
Quaker, yeah, Quaker meeting house.
Yeah,
Well, it seems to me now that what we have to do now is, these questions for the apple peach are gonna be pretty important.
Yes.
Yeah,
And we're gonna have to see if we can think of some way to drum up a lot of people taking the survey. We have to pass out something for free. Maybe a free beer if you take the survey.
Yeah.
no beer on the patio, no. No,
Do they sell beer at the apple peach?
they do,
They do.
down in the back.
I imagine a few people sneak in their own too.
Oh, that could be.
Well, harder stuff.
And they use our bathrooms in the museum.
Yes, I'm sure that's true.
I thought you had to have a pass to get there.
They have passes, we make the
Oh.
passes.
Didn't they have Portable John's there last year?
The portable johns is supposed to be for the visitors.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The vendors are supposed to use our bathrooms in the building.
Well, because they have to wash their hands.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
at the Porta Johns, don't they have a sink in them?
They do, some of them, I don't know if.
Yeah, but they don't have running water.
If they
No.
pay for them.
Sure
You
don't.
pump it, there's water there.
Yeah.
It's
It's a tank, is it a tank of water?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a reservoir of water.
Yeah.
And the one we had has got a foot pump in it, and you pump the water.
Ah,
And they have soap dispensers, and
Here's my name and phone number.
All right, thank you.
okay. All right, Kathy, we'll work on this. Each one of us will take it home and work on it.
Yep.
See if we can come up with some good ideas for you.
Great.
I'm gonna talk to people I know in faraway towns from here and see if they get some ideas that could be adapted to locally here, yeah. I mean, Gloucester, 400th anniversary this year, I'm sure they thought of all kinds of stuff that wouldn't even occur to us. But see, they got something we haven't got. They've got a little more sea to
Yeah,
lean on.
we don't have that.
Well, we got cranberry bogs, and there's none of them up there, so.
Cranberry bogs and we got the ponds on Lake Street.
Yes.
So we do have some
the
water.
bathing place.
Motion?
Okay, all right, so, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll make a motion that we'll work on this for next time.
Yes, indeed.
Come up with some good questions for you,
Yep.
okay?
If I come up with some real hot ones, I'll call you. I mean, it's tough, but we may come up with a few ideas.
Yeah, give me a call, email me,
Yep,
and put the ideas all together.
yep.
Okay?
That's good.
Yep.
Good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. We're anxious in a way because I know the museum needs some work this
It
year.
does indeed, it sure does.
Inside, you know.
Yep. Motion to adjourn, right?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Okay, well, we're still gonna go through this.
Oh,
Okay, all right, so the new gate at the Friends Meeting House is up and it looks good.
It
yep.
does.
And it opens out to the street, so you can drive in, no problem.
It is nice, it does look nice.
It looks nice, yes.
Yeah.
The flagpole is ordered.
Yep.
So they're just waiting to send the check out to them and they will send it to us.
Yeah.
The new sign at the Grange, we had the sign outside of the Grange up there on Main Street.
Oh, yeah.
We had the new sign made for them.
That's very nice to do that.
Well, they sent the thank you card to the Acushnet Historical Commission. The Acushnet Grange would like to thank you with great appreciation for the wonderful sign that was installed last week. With regards, Acushnet Grange, number 285, members.
They don't have all that many members. 'cause
They don't.
I don't think any of them do because, you know, it's just not.
It's just dwindling down.
Yeah, it's a shame and they
I
tend,
was gonna
Young
join,
people
but
today
geez.
don't want no part of it.
yeah, it's true. They don't really know what it is and they don't want to know.
No,
Yeah.
they're too wrapped up in,
Other stuff.
Farming
Well,
and stuff.
The
Yeah.
Grange was started, it was an agricultural
Yes, it was.
organization.
Yeah,
So, I mean, there's not too many young folks
Yeah.
in
No.
agriculture anymore, so.
no,
And all the old ones are dying off.
yeah, for sure, we're losing a lot of them. But in the meantime, they are gonna have a fair at the Grange, I believe it's the last Saturday of September.
Yep.
They've already asked if the Historical Society is gonna set up there. Because
Yeah.
what we did is we took t-shirts, hats, things that we had, and set up a table inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it, and I didn't do it last year. Did it the year before, and she's already asked me about doing it again this year. I told her, I said, if I'm alive after Apple Peach. Okay, so that's taken care of. All right, anything else under old business? The projects for CPC funds, ceilings at the museum, the painting the walls throughout the rooms. One room at a time for sure, because we've got a lot of stuff to move around if they want those rooms empty.
Yes.
Then I don't know what we're gonna do. That building is pretty full.
Yeah.
But I gotta say something, we've been open there every other Sunday. Okay? You can't even believe the people that we've been getting through that building. And cause I wasn't supposed to stay. My first week, I was there for the 2 hours. But then I have to go open up because they don't all have keys. Open up, put the fans on, open some windows, get some air in there. I ended up staying because so many people are coming in and out. We had people last week from Oregon. He went to school at Long Plain.
Yep.
Had another lady from Missouri, California,
Yeah.
all over the place. You can't even imagine. They've gone to school at Long Plain.
Wow. Now, do you have a register there? I didn't notice, Pauline. There's
On
a
the desk.
register there for visitors
On the
to
desk.
sign in?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you gotta keep after them to sign in, because a lot of them don't like to sign, you know? But, it's been fantastic. So next year, I've already been asked, next year you're gonna open up more often?
Yeah.
Well, if I can get help, I'll open. See, we got a lot of new girls that had signed up last year to help out with Apple Peach. So I got quite a few new members,
Yeah.
you know? So it worked out well. In fact, last Sunday, not last Sunday, the week before when we were open, had this lady come in, little tiny thing, lives on Peach Blossom Lane. And she said, Pauline, I've been dying to meet you. I've been dying to come in this museum. I'm a historic fanatic. She's looking all around. She took the form to fill out to be a member.
Yeah.
She sent me the check and membership. So she's coming to our meeting Thursday night. Okay, I says, my God, this is amazing. I really feel good about the museum this year,
Yeah.
because we've had a real good turnout. So,
A
keeps.
lot of people have been to that school.
A lot, my God. We'll get a lot of pictures in that classroom, books of kids that graduated. Yeah, a lot of kids went there. Okay, and the commission is still looking for 3 new members. We're
Yep.
still 3 members short. So anyone interested in joining, please send a letter to the selectman's office.
Sure.
And our next meeting is August 15th.
Yep.
Okay, anything else under old and new business you want to bring up? Are we all set? All set?
I think we pretty much covered it.
Okay, good.
We got enough to worry about.
Yeah, we do.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, so moved. Seconded, all right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Okay, 7:30.